So I really had no intention on making a video about this, but I was low-key really bothered by people's reactions to it, both on social media and in person. So y'all know I just, I had to speak my piece. Ayesha Curry, as well as the rest of the women from the Curry family, were on Red Table Talk, which is an online talk show with Jada Pinkett Smith, her mother, and Willow Smith, and they were talking about what it's like being the wives of high-profile NBA basketball players. They talked about depression and anxiety, they talked about personal insecurities, they talked about balancing motherhood, being a wife, and trying to maintain a sense of identity while married to an NBA player. They talked about dealing with groupies, and the one main thing that the world zeroed in on, which was clearly about Ayesha Curry, was her getting or wanting male attention.
Something that really bothers me and honestly has given me a sense of a little bit of an insecurity is the fact that, yeah, there are all these women throwing themselves, but me, the past 10 years, I don't have any of that. I have zero, this sounds weird, but male attention. And so then, I begin to internalize it, and I'm like, is something wrong with me?
You're not looking.
What?
You're not looking. You're not even. But I'm gonna tell you something now.
Because I don't want it, but it would be nice to know that, someone's looking.
But when your radar's turned off, right, that can get real dangerous. Don't ever think for 1 minute that it ain't some men out there looking at you like, I wish.
Now, when I saw the episode, I didn't really think too much of it. I didn't think it was gonna be such a big deal. And, Ayesha Curry has said things in the past that, has drawn a lot of negative attention to her. And, I'm not the biggest Ayesha Curry fan. I really don't care about her. I don't dislike her. I do think she has said some things that have been problematic in the past. I do think she kind of plays into respectability politics. But all in all, I really don't care about her. I don't dislike her. I'm just kind of indifferent. She's just there. I wasn't expecting people to react like this, but then again, it's the internet, what do you expect? But the amount of negative comments she was getting was beyond ridiculous. And of course, I'm mostly focusing on what Black people were saying. The majority of the comments I saw from Black women, not all, but the majority, were saying they respected her being open and honest and respecting her honesty and vulnerability, whereas the majority of the comments I saw from Black men, again, not all, but most, were really just upsetting. They really frustrated me. And I'm not talking memes, those are always expected, and some of them were low-key funny. A lot of them were tasteless, but some of them were funny. But I'm talking about dudes who were really in their feelings, just going in on her, going on rants, calling her all type of bitches and hoes and thoughts, and I was like, she really didn't even say nothing that crazy. Why are y'all so in your feelings? And the comments I was seeing from men range from, she just wants dudes to holler at her so she could curve them, to that's a whole thought mentality, to Steph is in the playoffs, why would she do this now? This isn't the time or place, to why does she need outside validation? But before I zero in on what Ayesha Curry said, can we first just acknowledge what Steph Curry's sister said about how she blacks out and how she has anxiety and how she can't be around groups of people and how she's basically miserable? Are we really just gonna ignore that because Ayesha claims she needs a little bit more male attention? People love to talk about mental health on the surface, but when it really comes down to it, when the opportunity presents itself, y'all really don't care. Y'all really don't be seeing it. Y'all only really care when it's too late, and by that time, your care is virtually irrelevant. But y'all not ready for that TED Talk, huh? So I guess we'll go ahead and shift the conversation back to Ayesha Curry. First off, can we please acknowledge that she never said she actually wants male attention? She just said it would be nice. Now, whether or not you believe her is different, but she never actually said, I want male attention. That's all I'm saying. But make no mistake, Ayesha Curry is clearly insecure, and I don't say that to be mean or to make her feel bad about herself. This wasn't just a woman opening up about her insecurities, but let's be real. A mother of 3, a wife of an NBA superstar, one of the greatest players of all time, has baddies probably throwing themselves at him day and night. It's understandable for her to feel insecure. I can't imagine even the most confident woman not being somehow affected by that, even in the slightest. But my first response to Ayesha Curry would be, girl, let's be real. No groupies go harder than those of athletes and musicians. So I don't know why exactly she thinks she should be getting the equivalent to what Steph Curry gets. Just because you're attached to him doesn't necessarily mean that you would be getting the female equivalent to what he gets. No, it just doesn't work like that. So if you're trying to measure your desirability by how many groupies you get or how much male attention you get versus how much he gets, I really hope that's not what she's doing. But if you are, girl, stop. I don't think this is about her wanting to curve dudes or liking the feeling of turning people down. I just think it's the overall feeling of wanting to feel desirable, wanting to feel pretty, wanting to feel wanted, not just in an emotional way with her husband, but just in a social way. I don't think it's really meant to be that deep, but y'all made it deep. Like, everyone wants to look good. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting other people to think you look good. Wanting it and needing it are two different things. And there is a small element of colorism that I'm really not gonna touch on for too long, but I have to mention it. I just think it's interesting how when dark-skinned women talk about wanting to feel desirable, people talk about, oh, you need outside validation, you should be getting that from yourself, and they put it just on dark-skinned women and feeling insecure for having dark skin or a darker complexion. But when a light-skinned woman does it, it's not a light-skinned thing, it's a black woman thing. And I just think it's interesting how people just seem to know how to draw the line at light skin versus dark skin versus black women as a collective. That's just interesting to me. I'm just gonna leave that there. I'm not even gonna zero in on it, but it had to be said. But that brings me to my next point. Why does she need outside validation? There's so many different directions I could take this one, but I'm just gonna start with the fact that they've been together since they were like 15 years old. Like, that's a long ass time. And obviously I don't know them personally, but I can't imagine someone being with someone for that long and starting at such a young age and being able to gain a true sense of independence and gain a sense of self. I find that very unlikely, to be honest. And a lot of people are saying that as a married person, you shouldn't even want any outside attention, but maybe that's an indication of the lack of confidence that she might have gained if she hadn't been with someone for so long, starting at such a young age, the time where you're learning who you are, you gain a sense of self. She didn't really get a chance to experience who she is outside of this person that she's emotionally attached to. But what do I know? And that's something that Steph's mom spoke about as well, how from the outside looking in, it's like, yes, black love, been together for so long, it's such a beautiful thing, but tend to forget that a relationship is still two people. Your sense of individuality still matters even when in a partnership. If she's never experienced that, if she doesn't feel that, then it's understandable for her to feel a sense of loss of herself and virtually irrelevant outside of being just Steph Curry's wife. I just think that's something that should be taken into account when talking about her necessity for outside validation before people sit here and just judge her as if she's just trying to go out and throw her cat at everybody. And another thing that needs to be taken into account is the fact that only a couple years ago, men were putting her on the pedestal. A lot of men were treating her, or at least talking about her, as if she was this ideal woman, perfect wifey material, which is part of the reason why I dropped my wifey material versus bad bitch whatever video like a couple years ago. Chances are she didn't feel like this a few years ago because men were giving her attention. Like, she was low-key popping for a minute. I mean, she was on Hannah Montana. How can you not be popping on Hannah Montana? Just kidding. Chances are these insecurities are relatively recent due to how much her body has changed since giving birth, plus how much more attention Steph is probably getting from groupies because of the trajectory of his career. And while they tend to come off as this perfect couple, the perfect family or whatever, fighting off a bunch of groupies that look like some entry-level Beyoncés, plus trying to maintain a healthy marriage, plus trying to be a good mother, plus trying to put out this persona as this perfect wife, perfect mother, literally having millions of eyes on you, plus trying to fight off these insecurities of your body postpartum. It's understandable that you will be insecure, and a lot of people are trying to talk about, well, if I had Steph Curry, if I had all this money, but you don't. No one except for them truly knows what it's like to be in their relationships. I really don't understand all this criticism based off of these two little sentences that she said, and she didn't even say all that much. But there is something I don't think she's taking into account when it comes to this whole male attention thing. In general, men tend to be a lot more respectful of women when they know they belong to a man. And I hate to say the word belong, but that's really the way men see it, so that's how I'm gonna say it. The same whistles and comments that I get when walking down the street by myself, I don't get when I'm walking with my boyfriend. I don't get when I'm walking with my male friends. I don't get when I'm even walking with my brother. Like, it takes a real cocky or confident dude to approach a woman who's with a man like he really don't give a fuck. But I don't think she's ignoring that on purpose. I think she's just a little bit confused as to why men give that courtesy to a woman that belongs to another man, but women don't give that same courtesy to a man they know belongs to another woman. All these groupies, they don't give a fuck that he's married. They don't give a fuck about your little kids. So the fact that groupies aren't giving the same level of respect and care as guys are, random guys who wouldn't even have a chance with her regardless. I think just that idea of these women not knowing what boundaries are, I think it scares her, and I think it's very intimidating. And listening to what she had to say really started to remind me of Melanie from The Game, which was one of my favorite shows, because it gave us kind of an idea of what the inside of that world looks like. And let's be real, that was probably way more accurate than anything you'll see on Love and Hip Hop or basketball, whatever's of whatever. But in that show, they talked about trust, they talked about validation, they talk about only being the wife of so-and-so, they talked about groupies, they talked about not feeling like you're enough. Like, they talked about all the things that the Curry women were talking about on this show and so much more. Yet when someone who's living in that world says the same things that we assume to be true from the show, we start attacking her. Like, that is weird to me. I don't get that. Ayesha said something that was very interesting to me, and that was her internalizing the lack of male attention. We women really get a lot of attention. Like, some of it is annoying, some of it is flattering, and some of it is like really terrifying. But regardless, we've become accustomed to getting attention whether we want it or not. For someone like Ayesha Curry, when you're used to getting a lot of attention and then you don't, or at least feel like you don't, because I doubt that she's not getting attention, it makes sense to internalize it and think that there's something wrong with you when you were getting something for so long and you feel like it suddenly stopped. I personally wouldn't, and I know a lot of women wouldn't, but I know a lot of women would. Women are told that we are here for men's consumption. Like, we're programmed to believe this, and while many of us are still learning how to unlearn these things and realize that we are so much more, it's not wrong or automatically means you have low self-esteem to just want to know if people find you attractive. But I wouldn't encourage women to internalize it. Like, if people find you attractive, cool, that's what's up. If they don't, whatever, keep it pushing. Being able to think like that is not easy for some people, and that's where the insecurities begin to flood in, where you feel like you need it versus when you just want it or it's there and you're like, cool, that's what's up. All in all, Ayesha wasn't saying that she wants to step out on her marriage or even give other dudes the time of day. She just wants to know if she still got it. Like, she just wants to know if she's still popping.
The only time a married man takes off his ring is to see if he still got it.
All right, all right. I took it off because I wanted to see if I still had it.
Whether that's right or wrong is a matter of perspective, but I mean, that's all she really said. But what's really annoying is people talking about outside validation as if it's a singular concept, like if you want it, you must automatically have low self-esteem or have no self-confidence or whatever, and that's not always the case. No matter how confident you are, in not just with your looks but in other aspects of your life, there's always gonna be a small, part of you that wants people to like what you do, that wants people to like you or to like your opinions or whatever. Obviously there's levels to it, but all in all, humans want validation or acceptance in some way or form. It doesn't just have to be in a sexual way. It could come from wanting it from your parents, wanting acceptance and validation from a mentor, from your friends, from there's so many different levels of it. The key is to just finding balance between wanting it or getting it from someone else and being able to give it to yourself. But it's not always the easiest thing. Obviously, if it was that easy, this wouldn't even be a problem, but whatever. But the last thing that I want to address, and this is probably the thing that was irritating me the most, which is why I left it for last. The people who are saying stuff like, I don't understand why she decided to do this now. She should have waited until Steph was out of the playoffs. This wasn't the right time or place, blah, blah, blah. She should have kept it to herself. Those are the comments that really, really bugged me. The reason why I took these so, to heart is it's not even about Ayesha Curry. Like I said, I'm indifferent about her. I don't care about Ayesha Curry. This video really isn't even about Ayesha Curry. I have a huge problem with, first of all, people acting like they're so gung-ho for helping people with mental illnesses, mental health health is everything, mental health is this and that. But then when people express themselves, they want to completely attack them, want to say that they're wrong. Every time Black women want to share their problems, people literally try to police and censor Black women's emotions. You just have a problem with dealing with Black women's emotions when it's inconvenient for you. But let's be real, when has it ever been convenient for Black women to say what they gotta say? When has it ever been convenient to actually help solve the issues that Black women face? Not women and women of color, Black women. It's never a convenient time. Black women are silenced every damn day. Like, there is never a good time to talk about something that has always been seen as inconvenient for someone else. So I have a problem with people saying she needs to wait, it's not the time, because we hear that so often. Black women need to stop letting their mental health take a backseat to other people. So for those of you who said he's in the playoffs, okay, if she would have waited, it would have been, wow, he just won the finals, you can't even let him enjoy his celebration. Or it would have been, wow, he just lost, you making it worse. Well, that's not gonna happen because Warriors are gonna take it again all the way, boop, yeet. Or it would have been, wow, it's preseason, he needs to be focused. Wow, it's in the middle of this season, he doesn't have the time for this. Wow, it's this, wow, it's that. You're always trying to tell Black women to wait until it's convenient for other people, and that's the problem. And the only thing worse than the people saying that she should have waited are the people who are saying she should have just kept the shit to herself. No, that is the worst thing. Like, that is exactly how small problems become big problems. That's how these little things manifest themselves into actual mental issues and anxieties and depression. And we're always talking about how mental health is something that needs to be talked about so heavily in the Black community, and when Black people don't speak up on it, it's a problem. But when they do, y'all want to attack them for it. Like, I don't understand that. Like y'all can't have it both ways. And I know people are saying it's not the right place, you shouldn't share on the internet, and I understand, because I do think there are a lot of people who tend to overshare on the internet. But how can you say this isn't the right place when Red Table Talk is exactly where people like her, famous people, can sit down and actually talk about their insecurities in a way that is actually going to be beneficial to some people? She has a platform, whether you like her or not. Who are we to say that's not the right way to talk about how you feel? You shouldn't be saying this. You can say that, but you can't say this. You can say this, but you can't say here. Like, no. I'm just sick of people trying to tell women how to feel. I'm sick of people trying to tell Black women how to feel and what to feel and when to feel it. Like, I just have a problem with it. Like, that shit offends me. There are certainly things that are meant to be a conversation between Black men and Black women. Like, I'm always for that. Not everything is meant to be an argument. Not everything is meant to be a back and forth. Sometimes y'all need to just sit down and shut the fuck up and listen and take notes. When you see a group of women talking about shit, and I'm not talking about man bashing or whatever, but when you see a group of women sitting down talking about the shit that they deal with as Black women, those are the times where you need to sit back and listen. Like, okay, maybe you could drop your 2 cents or have questions. You are not in the place to tell them how to feel and tell them that the way they're expressing what they express is wrong. Like, y'all need to really just learn how to shut the fuck up sometimes. I just have a problem with people trying to censor Black women, and that was pretty much the whole premise of this video, and I probably could have just said that in like 3 minutes, but it is what it is. That's all I gotta say. If you want to drop your comments and your, opinions below, feel free. It's a free country. Do what you gotta do. So yeah, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you know when my next video is.